I want to have like one push button uh, momentary switch, um, a 220 ohm resistor, but you can use a bunch of different values, so long as it's a resistor, and an LED. First step is we're gonna hook up a ground wire to our breadboard. Breadboards are wire like attached vertically along the rails, like so negative, or these are all connected vertically, and same with the positives connected vertically, and then horizontally the holes are connected. So anywho, uh, ground wire. I'm gonna attach this to ground here. There's a bunch of different grounds. I usually use the ones like the VDDs, like P6789. I'll use that VDD and that ground for those. I don't really think it's necessary, but I still do it anyways. Anyways, so I'm going to use that ground. I'm going to connect to the ground here. Next up, I'm going to put in an LED onto the board. The bent side is the longer side, and the longer side is also known as the positive side, and then the shorter side is the negative. And I'm going to plop it into the breadboard like so. Next up, I'm going to plop in a resistor, and it doesn't matter what side is positive or negative because they're both the same. And I'm going to put one end into the negative, or the ground, and the other end into the connected row for the negative side of the LED. Next up, I'm going to add a jumper from the positive side of the LED in one of the holes that are on that row. And I'm going to connect that to P6 just for an example. Any digital input or output GPIO will work, but for this one, I'm going to use P6 for that LED. Next up, I'm just going to add a little momentary push button switch. So you can see the pins come out the ends there, and like the sides are flat. Um, when you press the button down, it connects the pins on this side to the pins on this side. So if you press it, the circuit is like complete between this side and this side. So you press it and they both get connected. I'm going to add another jumper for the one leg. I'm going to add it into a row of holes that are connected to one of the legs, and it's going to go to ground. And the other leg I'm going to connect to P, and let's use P7 for this one. So the LED is attached to P6, and the push button is connected to P7. Real quick, I'll just show you how to do both the momentary and toggle version of the push button LED thingamabob. I'm going to add 5 objects in total. First one's going to be GPIO/IN/D for digital. So it's the digital input. For the pad, I'm going to switch it to PB7. Yeah, PB7. And then I'm going to switch the mode to pull up. Next, I'm going to add a logic object. So LOGIC/INV for invert. Don't worry too much about this. It has to do with the pull up and pull down resistors that we use for the LED, I guess, and the ones that are internal in the Axoloti. But all you need to know for now is that it works. And then I'm also going to add a display object, DISP/BOOL for Boolean, so we can see whether or not the button has been pressed, even if our LED doesn't light up, just for testing purposes. Next, I'm going to add a LOGIC logic/TOG for toggle. That's toggle object. And then last object is going to be GPIO/OUT/D. So it's the digital output for our LED, which was PB6. So I'm going to switch the pad to PB7. 6. And then I'm going to leave the mode to push-pull. Next, we're going to wire them up real quick. So the now the button object is going to be connected to the logic invert, which is going to connect to both the display Boolean and the LED output as well. I'm leaving the toggle object unconnected for this one because it's going to be just the momentary example. I'm going to click live, and now when I press the button, there we go. It's great. I'm going to go turn off live now. I'm going to disconnect everything for this. For the toggle version, I'm pretty sure the initial value is going to be set to on, which is kind of annoying, but you can figure out how to resolve that issue on the forum for sure. But for now, this will work. So I'm going to connect the GPIO, the button output to the toggle input, and then the toggle output to the display input and the digital LED input. Now click live. And yeah, so it by default, the initial values turn to on. When you press the button, it toggles it off and on. I feel like using the invert logic object might resolve that issue, but I'm not sure. You can try it. I'm going to disconnect the outputs there. So I've got digital button to toggle to invert logic to display and digital. Click live. It's turned off. Oh, yeah, that works. Okay, so yeah, that's how you do it. And yeah, that's it. Pretty easy. Take care.